The Holiday Calendar is a film I was interested in because the premise sounded really intriguing and I wasn't really sure how they were going to do it. And I watched it and I actually liked it. It's not the best film I've ever seen and it does lose the novelty appeal quite quickly, but it's still quite enjoyable and very heartwarming. This was released in 2018. It's directed by Bradley Walsh, not that Bradley Walsh, and written by Amyn Kaderali. And the description from IMDb is spoiler free, so I'll read this out. A struggling but talented photographer inherits an antique holiday advent calendar, the contents of which seem to predict the future. Will this magical calendar lead her to love this holiday season? So, as the description says, Abby, played by Kat Graham, receives this antique advent calendar. It's a wooden advent calendar with kind of really big drawers in it, or big for an advent calendar. And she soon learns that every morning after midnight, she will get a little gift from the advent calendar that will predict the outcome of that day or something that will happen. So, I will give you an example of one. I'll give you an example of the first day. It's not really spoiling anything in the narrative. In the first day, she receives a small ornament of a pair of boots on like a bed of snow or something. And later that day, somebody gifts her a pair of boots. And this is really exciting because not only do you have the excitement of thinking, well, what will the calendar give the next day? But also when you see what the calendar gives, it's not exactly apparently obvious what will happen. So I won't say what the second gift was, but when I saw it, I had no idea how that would feature in that day, specifically with the third day as well. And I can't recall every single gift that was given, but it's really quite exciting and very unpredictable with how each of those gifts will relate to her day and the journey that she's on. The narrative execution was brilliant. As I said, it kind of, after a while, although the gifts are not predictable, the development of the narrative, the direction in which it travels does become quite predictable, but it never loses its magic. So I was quite content with that. I also really loved quite a lot of the cast, and the acting across the board was great, but there were some characters in this who I really enjoyed. Abby as a character, I liked her. I think she was a decent protagonist. Josh Barton is played by Quincy Brown, and I loved him in this. I think the character of Josh is so likable and so heartwarming and so approachable and so easy to watch. Great performance, well developed character, really enjoyed him. I also liked the character of Gramps, Abby's grandfather, who's played by Ron Cephas Jones, and he was great. Whenever he was on screen, I liked it. I loved his dialogue with Abby. We had some really heartfelt moments, a lot of family connections. It was lovely. I have no complaints about this film. It genuinely was one of the films that I thought, I'll watch it, but if I'm let down by it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I wasn't let down in the slightest, and I really, truly, thoroughly enjoyed this film. I watched it on Netflix. I thoroughly recommend it. If you're looking for a holiday film or a Christmas film that's just a little bit different, definitely magical, and very heartwarming, the holiday calendar is a perfect choice.